We all know about the flying kipper, the long, heavy fish train Henry pulls across the island and beyond in the middle of the night. But there's another seafood train on Soda. These special vans are filled with crabs and lobsters that can't be loaded onto the kipper. What are lobsters? Are crusty little buggers with big claws found at the bottom of the ocean, matey. You don't want to get pinched by them. There ain't no room for them on the flying kipper. So our own Arthur here takes them where they need to go. What Salty said was true. Every day, Arthur, the big tank engine, collects these special vans from random docks, and then happily hauls them all across Topham Railway, where he delivers his cargo to nearly every station. The lobsters and crabs are then brought to cafes and village markets, and even dining cars on passenger trains like the Express. The passengers are delighted to eat the crabs and lobsters. And Arthur? He is proud to be in charge of a train all his own that makes people happy. The other engines used to laugh and call the train the Krusty Kipper. Arthur rather likes the nickname, and so the Krusty Kipper it will always be. One afternoon, Sir Topham Hatt called Arthur to Knapford with some exciting news.
Arthur, your work with the Krusty Kipper has been spectacular so far. Not a single mess or delay since it was put in service. Tomorrow, if you can make the delivery safely one more time, you'll set a brand new spotless record.
Arthur was beside himself with joy. He had hoped of setting a new spotless record ever since he lost his old one. A new spotless record? Oh, thank you, sir! I will do my very best! Salty and Henry were excited for their friend. Arr, that record be in the bag, me hearty! No one deserves it more than Arthur! But none of them knew what Arthur was getting into. The next day, the dock workers were loading lobsters and crabs into Arthur's vans as usual. But one worker was making an awful fuss. He was impatient and very cross. Feh! Lobsters. What a load of rubbish! If I could afford that hoity-toity food like those fancy stiffs, I'd eat something even tastier than those nasty bottom feeders. Even Creaky Cranky was fed up with this grumpy workman.
Ugh, every day with this guy. If he's so miserable, why doesn't he just find a new job?
Soon enough, Arthur pulled gently into the yard and backed down onto the train, ready to go. The impatient workman was keen for him to leave.
Finally, your trucks are all set. Now get a move on. Don't leave yet, Arthur. You should have the workmen look at the vans over one last time to make sure they're really safe.
Gah!
Don't be stupid. The vans are plenty safe. You want that spotless record or not? Get going or you'll be late.
Arthur gulped. He knew that Cranky was right, but he didn't want to be late and lose his chance at the record. And this worker was making him nervous. I'm sure it'll be okay, Cranky. If worse comes to worse, I'll just stop and have my crew look over the train.
If you insist. Don't say I didn't warn you.
As Arthur chuffed out of the docks, he suddenly felt a little nervous about his run. He wasn't wrong to do so. But as Arthur rumbled down the line, he felt much more cheerful. He was gliding joyfully down the line, making excellent time and being extra careful with the vans. However, what he didn't know was that one of the van's couplings was weak and rusty, thanks to the salty sea air and seawater. Thankfully, Arthur was puffing so smoothly that the coupling stayed intact. But he was heading for trouble, as they began climbing a steep hill. Arthur felt the drag of the heavy vans here. He was pulling harder than he thought. The strain was even worse on the worn-out coupling. It struggled to stay attached. The higher Arthur climbed, the heavier the vans became, the more the coupling struggled to hold their weight. Until it finally happened. Arthur shot forward as the van started rolling backwards down the hill. The guard had jumped clear, but the runaway vans were picking up speed much too fast. At the bottom of the hill, Gordon was resting comfortably before his next train when he saw the vans racing towards him at top speed.
Go forward!
It was too late to set the points to the other line, so there was only one thing to do.
Gordon braked hard.
No one was hurt, but one of the van's doors burst open, and several live lobsters crawled out onto the ground. The poor lobsters were so frightened, they scattered about looking for a place to hide. But two curious lobsters crawled onto Gordon's footplate. They frantically climbed onto Gordon's face, but began to slip on his nose. Desperate, the two lobsters opened their mighty claws to get a better grip. And...
Mommy!
Arthur knew what that sound meant. Once again, his spotless record was ruined.
Oh, the irony!
It took a long time to catch all the lobsters and clean up the mess. The train ran incredibly late.
What happened to your nose, Gordon? I don't want to talk about it.
Sir Topham Hatt was furious when he heard about what happened. He had some very strong words for the irresponsible workman that caused this mess. Strong, shocking words that we'd rather not say out loud.
But you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna show you guys the two words that Sir Topham Hatt said to the irresponsible workman.
'Cause why not?
You're fired!
Now that we got that out of the way, let's continue. Fortunately, he had kinder words for Arthur, reassuring the sad tank engine that the accident wasn't his fault. Despite this, Arthur still felt gloom when he was back at the docks next morning. Henry and Salty felt sorry for Arthur and wanted to cheer him up.
It wasn't your fault, Arthur. You did all you could.
Aye, even without that barnacle-brained worker, I've never seen an engine better with the Krusty Kipper than ye are. That made Arthur feel a little better.
Thank you both. I do love this train. Still, it would have been nice to earn another spotless record. Speaking of, I heard Gordon set a new record for the loudest scream yesterday. Funny, from the looks of it, he should have broken one for the shiniest nose too.
The three friends laughed and laughed. But Gordon stayed bitterly silent as his nose throbbed. He never wanted to hear about lobsters ever again.